Okay, nice. Okay, hello. So we're from NUS Greyhats, which is basically like sort of a security type IG in NUS. I'm Cheng. This is Chen, and that's Ting. So we'll be hosting this workshop lah. Anyway, these slides will be this video will be on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch or whatever, also can later on. Yeah, maybe they webcast, then they're not here. Anyway, this is what we'll go through lah. Just some intro to the website. So some basic HTML cookies editing. Some whether you should change, why you should change the default passwords, and a few vulnerabilities after that lah. So it is execute after redirect, directory guessing, some cross-site scripting, and some intro to SQL and SQL injection. Okay, let's wait a while. Got more people. Okay, y'all might want to join the Slack, the MC. Is it?
Yeah.
MC website. Then you can get the slides. Yeah, so these slides you can get it from the Slack channel. Okay, so just to reintroduce, we are from, and never mind, there's very little people anyway. We are from NUS Greyhats. I'm Cheng. This is Chen, and that's Ting. So we'll be hosting this workshop. So these are contents that y'all will learn today lah. Just some basic intro to website. And most importantly is that we have designed some challenges so that y'all can get your hands dirty and like sort of test out some of the vulnerabilities also lah, in a safe environment. So yeah, just some ground rules lah. Just you learn here, right? What you learn here is just for you to secure your system. Don't try to use these techniques for like random websites or you may kena something from the law. No, I don't know. Okay, so what are web technologies, right? So there are basically three parts lah. So the first part is client, which is your HTML and your JavaScript that is executed through your browser. Next is the web server that's actually getting a request. So these are the servers. And for each web server, there's like specific languages that you can use lah. It's like Java or PHP. And then lastly, some of you might want to use some of you might actually want to use storage systems for your servers and stuff. So you can use like relational database like MySQL, or recently there's been like more hype over NoSQL, which is like MongoDB. Yeah. So just to get yours a bit started on what is the HTTP protocol. So it actually stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this is the underlying protocol which is used by your World Wide Web, which is HTTP. So in front of all your websites, there's this HTTP, or more recently HTTPS, which is more secure. So this protocol is used to define how messages are actually formatted and transmitted over the internet. And it's designed to enable communications between clients and servers. So this HTTP on its own, right, it's a request and response protocol. So you request something, and then the server will give you back something. Okay, so so this is just a diagram about it now. So there's basically two main HTTP methods that you all will encounter. The first is what we usually know as GET method. So the GET method is used to send data from a specified resource. It's to request data from a specified resource, and then the POST is to send data to the server to create or update a resource. So later we'll teach you how to actually view this. Like you can view this in your browsers. So this is what a GET request actually looks like, and these are some of the HTTP header fields that might be of importance to you. So this is the host, this is the user agent, and then there's the response code. Response. So main thing is that you all need to know what is something called the status code. So it actually tells you whether you successfully get the request back. So 200 okay means you successfully get it back. So some famous like more things that you might encounter is 404 and 403. 403 is forbidden and 404 is not found. Yeah. So these are some of the responses that you might get back from the server. What is the name of the server and what's the content length of the data that you requested. Yeah. So HTML, right, is basically what is HTML? It's basically a standard markup language. It's just a markup language. So if you all go to any website that requires a login, so this eBay lah, and then right, the main thing that I want you to learn in this portion is that there's this thing called Google Developer Tools, which is very important for web security and inspecting your web page on the whole, which you can get it by just right clicking and just go to inspect. So this is on Google Chrome lah. So most of the things we do today is on Google Chrome. So yeah, hopefully you have Google Chrome. And then you click inspect. Next. So this is the main developer menu that you see. So when you go elements, you can see that this is what you input in the password. This is the actual HTML that is put in to read your password. So right, next. So you see the type, right? It was password just now. So that's why you see the black dots, the encoding lah, sort of. So now if you put it into text, you can actually see your password. Okay, so this is not vulnerability lah, this is just a cool thing if you want to see like your password. So yeah, you can change it to text and it will show that it's a password. So as you can see, this is like, it's just a client-based thing because it doesn't send back to the server and say, hey, what's the password? It immediately changes on your browser and it only happens on your browser. Yeah, so this is the first part which you'll be using for the first challenge later. So this is called editing HTML. So what are cookies? So HTTP cookie is just a small piece of data that the server sends over to the web browser. So HTTP itself, right, it's called a stateless protocol. Means that you ask for something, the server give you back the something you request, and he forgets it already. So it won't, like the next time you ask it something, he won't say, oh, just now you asked me for the name, so I might know now maybe you want the age or something. So it doesn't have a state. So cookies, right, are like created to save the state of your HTTP browsing lah. So that let's say you go to Amazon and you buy something, and in your cart, right, then a few weeks later you want to come back to continue browsing, it's still there because it knows it's you. But then this solves the issue, but then there's still like some problems like you don't code it properly because people might hijack your cookie and be impersonate as you. So like the person that hijacked might actually go to your Amazon and like buy whatever is in your cart lah, using your credit card and just route it to his own address. So okay, this is just what I said just now. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna start on the challenge soon. So if you all haven't went to the web store on your Google Chrome, right? So just you can go to the web store now and download this extension, edit this cookie. That's number one lah. Number two is also we need to download a command line tool named curl. We call it curl. So if you're on Windows, just download git bash. If you're on Mac, just brew install curl. But if you haven't installed brew, right, you can refer to the prof's email on how to download because we created a slide for how to download. So it can give you like a few minutes. You can try it. You all try download first. If any problems, just ask at the moment. Okay. Just walk around. So all this will be, this is on Google Chrome and this is on your command line. But if you're on Windows, download git bash, which is just a command line it's just a git command line. Yeah. For those on Mac, if you all cannot use brew install, right, you all might have to run a Ruby command to get brew first, then you can brew install. Yeah. If you're on Linux, you just get install. Yeah. One more minute. Then I think with time the challenge later. Okay, so we'll just move on. If you have any questions, just raise your hand up. They will go and help you on the installation. So what is curl, right? So curl is just a command line tool that can be used to send this HTML request. And what you get back is actually the HTML itself from the server. So how to use this curl, right? You go to Google inspection tool, like just now how we do the right click inspect. And then you click on, in this menu, you click on network. And then you will see a lot of networks. Usually if you're on Google, right, they'll have a lot of networks that are going on when you send a request. But later in the challenges, there won't be that many. So what you have to do is you have to select the proper one that you want. And then you go to copy and copy as curl. So for those on Git bash, right, there's one that copy as curl on Git bash. There's a bracket Git bash one. So later when you're using curl, then make sure you, for those on Windows, right, copy the one on Git bash, not the command prompt one, because you're using curl on Git bash itself. So next. Okay, so there's a few challenges. So hopefully you'll have fun in the challenges. So for challenge 1, right, there's 3 parts to it. First, you have to use what you learned from the editing HTML. And then second, it's editing the cookies using the extension that you sort of you downloaded. And then last one is using curl, which is the command line tool. So what we do in Greyhats is that we learn this thing called capture the flag. So it's sort of a competition where you try to complete a challenge, complete an assignment, and then at the end of it, right, you obtain a flag. It's quite explicit one. So for this session, right, the flag will start with the word flag and open curly braces, and your flag, your password or whatever you call it, will be inside. Okay, so the objective is try to get the flag for challenge 1. So you can go to this link now, and then you'll be greeted with a screen, and you all are meant to use your whatever you learned and try to get the flag out of it. Okay, so go up first. Yeah, so you'll be greeted with this. So I'll give you like 5+ minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to try to play this challenge, and at the end of it, try to get a flag. Y'all have any questions? Okay, that's the website. So 3.0.20.50, we are doing on port 3000. And so there's 3 parts to it. So what you're seeing is the first part. Oh, are you on feedback? What do you? Wait, have you? Okay, so you see, you have not logged in yet. Yeah. So how do you? What is the error message? Yeah. So how do you see the error? So just to inform, this whole all these challenges is you want a flag. So try to get a flag. So if you have used editing HTML already, have you tried using the cookies? If you're using the cookies already, have you tried using curl? So these are the only 3 things that you need to use. If you haven't used one of them, means that you need to find somewhere to use one of them. Yeah. Yeah. Skin. Sweet. The first guy that soft attack. But it's because when you them scared, I got them side people. They can't wreck. But won't have because I want to win the
series. Why it's a Saturday, so I think they won't count. If it's a weekday, then maybe they will count.
So sad. So the main ways of one of the ways of solving CTF is to find error messages and just click around until you see something change. So like the first part, right? You don't know, you only have this web page, you don't know what to do. Just submit first. Then you see there's a typo in the password. How do I see the typo? Then you start going on from there. Yeah, what's the next slide? Okay. I think most of you have gone through part 1 already. I will just quickly flash the answer for part 1 because it's quite easy. So part 1 is you just go to Google Inspection, Chrome Developer Tools, and you inspect to change the type to text so that you can see what's the password. You can see that manipulate is spelled wrongly, and then you just change it to spell properly, and then you can submit. So you'll hear the new page. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so some of you solved already. Anyway, you all have the slide, so you don't spoiler yourself, you all can see. But then, so once you're here, right, you try to play around with the submit, and then the error message says you need privilege level 0 to print a flag. Okay, I'm at privilege level 1. Now I need privilege level 0. So you can go to Chrome Developer Tools, and then once you click the network, right? So what I've taught you is elements and network. So now you click on network, and you realize that, oh, my privilege is 1, and it's part of a cookie. So this privilege, right, is actually given through the cookie. So how can I edit this privilege such that I can get 0 to print a flag? Okay, so you use your extension, which is edit this cookie, to help us to edit. Once you edit, so this is the privilege cookie. See, there's a few other cookies that you're not very interested in. You want the privilege cookie, set the value to 0, take the check tick, and then you would think that a flag will come out straight away. Okay, but your flag doesn't come out. So again, you go to your Chrome Developer Tools, and then you can see that the form data, right, in the network, once you click the network, it says do nothing, but you click print flag. Why does it say do nothing? Because it sort of like redirects you, auto redirects you. So you might want to curl this. So curl is a command line tool that lets you stop the redirect. And you can see what actually processes before the redirect. So you just go to just now the networks there and copy as curl. Then you head to your command line and just change the action from do plus nothing to print plus flag. And then you get change to print plus flag, and then you get a flag. Yeah. So just wait a while for other people. Okay, I think okay. So let's go on. So as you can see, right, we can edit the cookies just now. So that's a major issue, because once you edit the cookie, right, you can set your privileges to whatever they want, and then you can do an action that is not intended for your use. So while you're coding your web app or whatever, right, so just make sure that there's a session timeout. So that firstly it's a session timeout, so make sure that once you the session terminates, the guy cannot log in again. So it's not a persistent web app. So also use server-side session management so that you will need the user details will not be exposed. So only a reference for the session is stored in the cookie, not the actual what you need to change. Like just now, we know that we need to change privilege and stuff like that. So the main gist is that you all will need these two flags. And there's a lot of ways depending on the programming language that you use to code your web servers to activate these two flags. So you can just do a quick Google search and it'll teach you how to code these two flags out. You don't even have to think on your own. It's just coded nicely already. So HTTP only flag means that the cookie cannot be accessed through client-side script. Means that when just now I find out the privilege equal to 1, right? If you have this flag enabled, you can't even see that the privilege is equal to 1. It doesn't even send the cookie. Second, which is I don't know whether you all will find it effective, because most of your web app will be in HTTP instead of HTTPS. So HTTPS means that you will send the cookies only when you're going to a HTTPS page, a secure page. Then the cookie will be sent. Yeah. So these are two flags that is most important and how developers mitigate this cookie problem. Okay, so move on to the next part. Default passwords. This is a trend for all security, of course. When you get anything, you get a new router or whatever, always change your default password. Don't just leave it as it is. Okay, so next. So we'll move on to challenge 2. You all can just go to this link, which is 2001. Then try to get a flag. You just go, don't show it. Yeah. So try to get a flag. So there's no prerequisite to this. You just Google. Just Google to see what is the thing. This should be relatively easy. Just 2 to 3 minutes. Take full screen and see what.
That's why I using my phone.
What's ahead of me?
I can use my laptop.
Yeah, so the login page of the router is this is the router login page. But you can see that there's a product name on the top left. So you can just do a quick Google search on what is the product. And the first link that you can get, right? The first thing that you can get is actually the username and password already. So you just test did I change the password or not? Then apparently this person didn't, then you can get a flag. Yeah. So always change the password of whatever you're handling with, be it a router or whatever. Because just one Google search away and then your router is compromised. So are you okay up to so far? Okay, so moving on, the main thing that I want you to remember is your Google developer tool. Okay, so this is very important, and your curl. So moving on, right? What is the execute after redirect? Okay. Execute after redirect, right? It's an attack. But the attacker ignores the redirect and straight away retrieve the sensitive content. So this code is in PHP. So PHP is basically programming languages used for web development, but it's a very simple code. So this is a PHP text like your HTML, just opening and closing. And then if this person is not the admin, user means you're taking a variable. Then you just you bring him to the admin login place. You don't allow him to log in. Keep bringing him back to the login page. So at the bottom of this code, right, it just says echo top secret this thing. So if my code, if I can skip this redirect, this is a redirecting because I'm redirecting it to another site. I can skip this, I can straight away enter this top secret code, and I can see what is this image. So this is like a vulnerability, like if you never code your web app properly. Okay, next. Sorry. Okay, can. So now we move on to the next challenge. So you just need to remember how to inspect the HTML. This might take a longer time now. So and just prepare a QR scanner to scan for the flag. Yep. So once you get to a website, if you are an attacker, what will you do? You just click around everything to see if there's anything clickable. And that if you click it, does it go to another place or does it stay in the same place? Yeah. Whatever. The SQL.
Okay. I feel like we still have a lot of time left.
Oh, really? Yes.
Give them more time to play.
What details? Okay.
3 and 4.
Okay. How to do this? Okay, we need to try to go everywhere. Try to go everywhere. Try to go everywhere.
You log in, what?
Okay, tell.
I tried the method search results like 没有那个 link.
Oh, they hide the link.
Serious?
Means that you can still find it.
I find history.
Yeah. Your battery low is it? Is it even
No,
a
my battery bar is missing. I need to restart and fix it.
What?
It's very irritating.
I thought you bought
But
a
it's
new
no
laptop.
battery. It's not a new one.
Oh, shit.
Oh, one.
Sorry, I thought this is my phone. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to click someone's phone. Oh, everyone log in.
Is it everybody else flooding?
Yeah, confirm. The website dead, bro. Is Mihan not doing the challenge?
I think so.
No.
Tell them. I'll see whether you do. Can. An error has occurred while performing search. Please contact your administrator.
So you cannot search for anything. Then why must you do this? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it? Oh.
Wait. Alright. No. Go view academic. No, I thought you can get the unofficial track on
Oh.
Toh.
Because I never charge.
Never mind.
The thing.
I need to know what is next coming. Send the link to Telegram before your comment.
Huh?
Is that a link to the list? To the
You
presentation?
don't, as in you don't have the drive, is it?
No, I just want a link so I can click my com, then I can see. I click on my phone, then I can see what's coming up there.
I use my phone lor.
Okay.
I already
you want to
open
use your
already.
phone, why?
Everything cover. That's why I probably forget to turn on the charger.
Okay. So you go and see that there's the source, right? And then you just go to the source. Yeah. Where on?
I got battery.
In case the wireless mic no battery. My friend not responding to me. I see to go and check, then he don't. Oh, maybe cannot already anyway.
Oh.
Wait. Should I do go home? I don't know. I can go home and play. And play. Just go to Greyhats something. Lazy Waylon, I think. He wants to.
He's there today?
He's there for
Yeah,
the
he's
whole,
there for 2
whole
days.
day
You do what?
to do this. To do the
You need to do at
CPC.
home what?
He wants to be there. Can feel the aura.
Maybe he go there, after that he can give hints.
You go and still play.
Yeah, go there still flat.
We just
You sit beside him.
no, but he's not too high level. We haven't unlocked.
Can see one or not?
Bro, we're recording.
Oh.
Never mind. It means he's too tight. Oh, yeah, you only can ask him what is the steps. But you can, unless he want to do the right thing, you do it right up. Think of more points. No, they say more points.
Yeah, extra.
You do right up, like how to solve. Do like how to solve. Like email like they don't collect everything right here. Maybe they want to find like the most the best way. How people do it on GitHub? Where you go? Korea. How many times? Oh, really? They keep going back. I think for me, seriously. Yeah, the castle, the banners. Oh my god. Is that really the same? Yeah. Really? I think the same. Queen's language.
Because they feel that Singaporeans can see no, then
My friend asking. Okay, so let's just review the answer for this. So right, once you go into their website, you'll try logging in and what, but it doesn't work. So you realize that top secret page, right, is like hyperlink. So you try to click it, but it still directs you back to the same page. So there's a redirection. So to find what's happening, right, of course you go back to your old friend, the Chrome developer tools, and then you realize that there is a secret.php here that is like not going to here, but it's always redirecting back to this login page. So what do you do? So yeah, you realize that there's actually another page that you're supposed to go to, but it's always redirecting you back to this login page. So on the developer's part, this is correct. You're not supposed to access the top secret thing. So it's correct at the moment. So you curl the website, you curl this secret website to stop it from redirecting you back to the login page. Okay, then you're actually presented with this top secret thing, which is similar to the code I've shown you just now. Then you see what is this image source QR code.jpg. You just try to access the website, and then you can get a flag up. Yeah, which is this what you see. So next, you understand? Yeah. So how to solve this? So there's two ways. One is there's this function in PHP that died. So it's basically if you reach here, then it kills it already. All this won't be executed at all. Or you just have good coding practice and you code an else statement instead. Yeah. So don't just code anything like without and if else, you realize that that it might actually execute it here. You use one of these two methods to stop it from your code actually reaching here. Yeah. So next. So this is challenge 4. What's challenge 4? Y'all can So y'all can try to get the flag. So what is challenge 4 is called directory guessing. So there's actually no prerequisite, but to help you, right, try to look at the URL properly when you click on the separate links, and maybe you can get something. Okay, don't think sure. So I'll give you another 10 minutes.
Right. Oh, wait.
What's going?
Oh, wow.
No, they solved it.
Or the place there.
They like to use that. That's a standard.
Oh, really? Oh.
So we were like engineers
Yeah.
Just redirect.
They just
Oh, yeah. Because it's I think.
Oh my I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me review. So when you go to the website, right, you can click around and actually you can access the previous papers, which is like 18, 19, Sem 2 and 18, 19, Sem 1. Then you realize the directory is actually the name of the file itself. Okay, so what you do is that you just guess the next paper that you're gonna take, which is 1920, which is stated here. So you can look around for hints also lah, because this one we make it quite hint. Like there's a few hints, or you can get hold of this year's answer, which is this the year. So you just key that into the the link itself, and then you can just go to there. Yeah, and this is the fact itself. So to prevent this, right, there's something called global unique identifier, which basically, if you all have taken, it's like something like a table which maps, let's say AY 1920 to a random string. Then you use that random string to assess what you want to assess in a website. So it's harder for people to guess. But also the main story is that if you want to expose something on the internet, right, just don't put it there in the first place lah. Like, why would you expose next year's questions and whatever on the thing itself? So just try not to expose what you want to expose on the web. Okay, so now I'll pass it to Hui Cheng, who will teach you something called cross-site scripting.
Thank you. So cross-site scripting enables attackers to inject client-side scripts into web pages. So like, for example, when you see forms, then they have the text boxes, then you can type something and try to get something out of the web server. So reflected XSS occurs when the data provided by a web client, mostly commonly in HTTP query parameters, is used immediately by server scripts to pass and display a page for results and to the user. So usually content that are not properly sanitized will have vulnerabilities. So the classic proof of concept for XSS is to use JavaScript. So you use the script tag, which is this one. Yeah. And so by running this code, you can actually have a prompt in your Chrome browser. So there will be a total of 3 XSS challenges, each increasing in difficulty as the level of sanitization increases. So there's no flags, but you'll get a prompt, which will display an alert of 1. So you all can try the exercises by going to this link at port 3004. So the first challenge, there is no sanitization. So as you can see in the URL for the challenge, you can see that there's this name equals to hacker, right? You're supposed to do something to that, and you try to get the prompt that display 1. So y'all can try. Hold on.
Everything.
Oh. Answer is the next slide.
Yeah.
You want to show answer?
No, just let me try everything.
Oh.
You just change the fucking text. No.
When did let him try? Okay, try to just show you.
So you want to ask them try all?
Yeah, you can let it take time.
Okay.
Yeah, like you can 做好的直接。
Like that you can give them more.
Yeah. I'll go. Go to the website. I think it's
I knew what.
no, I think how people watch this. Okay, just
Okay, so I'll show you all the answers for this. So just now I mentioned the script tag, right? You all can just edit and like copy wholesale and edit the hacker, which is here, and use the script, and you'll get the prompt. Yeah. So for the second challenge, there is a little bit of sanitization, so you all can try. Yeah. So if you all just copy and paste that script tag from the first solution, you will not get the answer. Yeah, so don't try that.
When I do something related to the yeah, maybe I was doing beside that. It's Monday. It's the visa. Like 2,500. Yeah.
So I believe you all tried challenge 2 already. So for this, right, the sanitization is the exact script text. So if you change just like 1 letter or 2 letter, you'll be able to get the prompt. Yeah, so this is the third challenge. Using either of the first or the second challenge solution will not work for this. Yeah, so you can try something else, maybe using more text. What's the next slide?
You want to inject a bit of object. Sorry, check. Yeah. Bro, this yeah,
means you scam yeah. Also, no, but you know what? Oh, they use internet.
Because you already check it. They're not deep check.
Asking.
Or you do.
So for the third challenge, right, the hint that I gave you all was to use multiple tags. So you can enclose one script tag into another script tag and you'll be able to get the prompt. Yeah. So to prevent this, the key idea is to deny all, but to allow things that you want, like specific things. Yeah. So the first rule is to perform HTML data sanitization when inserting untrusted data into the web page. So you can use encoding and you check for the characters that you allow. Yeah. And then this is often used to include untrusted data into the web page, including normal text such as div. So the second rule is to perform HTML attribute sanitization. So this one will focus on like the image tag. Yeah. So there are also libraries available for attribute sanitization, such as DOM Purifier. So usually the least you can search on Google, like if you need to know how to do it. And then for the web browser and SQL, Ting will explain more on it.
Okay, so thank you, Hui-Zhen. So now we're talking about web browser and SQL. So as said from just now, sometimes for our web browser, we have to interact with the database to get out the data. So how do we get out data is to use this thing called SQL. So SQL is actually called the structure query language, is to structure query to query the database to get data. So usually your login credential when you go into your Facebook or Instagram, all this information is actually stored in a database. So for a quick SQL crash course will be, this is an example of the data in the database. So there's actually columns and rows. So each column represents the different details of this customer, and each row shows the different details of each column. So now we'll try. Okay, you all can proceed on to this website to try out some SQL queries. So the first one is, after you go to the website, you all can copy this and paste there. So select all from customer, what it means is that it will select everything that is inside this customer table from the database. Then the second one selects all from customer where country equal to Spain. So what does this do is that it will select all the customer from the database where this customer's country is actually Spain. And the last one will be select all customer where this customer stays in country Spain and city Barcelona. So you can try out in the website by querying like different countries, or you might even can query the contact names or the postal code. Okay, so another thing is right, when you select all this accessory, actually means that you're selecting all the columns over here. So you can actually replace this star with like select customer ID from customer, and this will show you all the records of customer IDs, and you won't show like the rest of the tables over there. So this is how you can like select some of the columns that you need. Okay, so moving on. So SQL has a very common vulnerability called SQL injection. So consider for following code for a login page. Select user password from user. So this is selecting the user and password column from the user table, where the username is equal to, example, Sally, and password is password. So SQL injection is actually a technique where the attackers will manipulate the input data, which is usually found in your form, so as to execute a query other than the intended one. So one example would be, so a simple SQL injection with comma would be code all one equals to one dash dash. So this dash dash symbol is actually used to comment out the SQL code. So just now our query was this, right? Select the user password from users where user's username and password equal to password. So this username and this password are actually your form text boxes. You know, when they ask you to log in, then you all type in your username and password. So those boxes are what is going to be inside here. So when we go into the username box and we type in code or one equals to one, and then dash dash, it will comment out the back part of the query. So the reason why we use comma or one equals to one is sometimes the database might not find that there's a user equals to nothing. So it will go into one equals to one, and one equals to one is always true. So it will pull out all the user and password from this table to display out onto the website. Yeah, so something like this. So we have a username table, user and password, they are all there. So when I select user password from user where user is John, the screen will show out John and password ABC. However, if we replace something with code all one equals to one, as one equals to one is always true, so all the users will be displayed. And since users equals to open and close quote, there are no blank users, so this is actually false. But one equals to one is always true. Therefore, this condition is true and we can select all from this username table. Yeah, I think it's a bit confusing, but do you have any questions? Okay, maybe you all try the challenge, then it's more clearer. So some effects of SQL injection can cause error. So if in your input you add in another code, it might lead you to an error message. And sometimes error messages may reveal information about the database, like whether it uses MySQL or MongoDB. And with such information, you can actually try to find the vulnerabilities for the database. And the attacker might be able to attack the website. Okay, so you all can go on to this website, the port 3005, to try out this SQL injection challenge. So first you can see this website and you all can go on to search user and play around with the website. Okay, so you all can try to search for any username and you all can try to inject the simplest injection, which is one of the single quote, to see whether there's any error messages that can be seen. So for this case, this single quote actually has an error message and it says that unrecognized token. So from what we see at the web page just now, by injecting a code, it actually gives us an error message. So this might be the backend query for the website, but when we inject another single code, it actually shows something like this. And see there's like no code over here. This is actually an invalid command. So moving on, we can try to test to inject double quotes to see whether there's any error messages. Okay, so when we inject the double quote, it actually shows that nobody with username of double quote exists inside the database. So what we know is that this is actually the most likely query in the website, as there's no error message that's being popped up. So now we can try to inject our SQL injection code to actually get out all the users and password from this user table. So y'all can try to inject this and see what y'all get from the website. Okay, so after y'all inject the SQL injection thing, you'll be able to see all the username and password of the respective username on the web page. So y'all can try to log in with any of the credentials over here at the login page. And y'all should be able to get the flag. So what we want to highlight is that SQL injection has its consequences. So like just now in the example was that it leaked out the username and password. So if someone is able to get your username and password, they'll be able to impersonate you inside the web browser or account. So SQL injection is also allow people to update records, like change the username's password or insertion or deletion of other records inside the database. So some of the mitigation that can be done is to validate and sanitize input from users on both client and server side, and use prepared statement and stock procedure when you code out your data query to the database, and try to limit the permissions to database access, create access level, and do not let your web browser connect to the admin user directly. Try to create another user inside your database and use it to connect to your database instead of the admin account, as admin account usually have the most privileges in the database. And as seen from just now exercise 2, avoid using the default username and password to connect to the database. Some databases have default username and password to connect, so change them to prevent like SQL injection. Okay, with that we end our workshop. Thank you.
Okay, so the challenges, right? You'll be up for a week. The server will be up for a week. So after like next, I think on Friday 2359, you'll be done. So y'all can try within this week again if you want. Yeah. Can.